Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Modern Warfare 2 Special Ops. It's been a while since the last episode, but we're finally tackling on Homeland Security. This is probably one of the longest missions in the game normally, as you can probably tell from the length of the video, and thankfully, despite this mission being really long, it's actually pretty easy if you have a pretty good strategy for it. So my strategy is I like to pick up a sniper rifle right at the start, grab the turret, and then I run all the way past this gas station over to this little diner that you can see. You can climb in through the window pretty easily, but, you know, sometimes you can get stuck and you just go around the back. But there's another turret in here as well, and you can set up both Steve and Bob, the turrets here in these two positions, and for the most part, they'll do all your work for you. You'll still have to do quite a bit of shooting yourself, but for the most part, you can essentially sit here in this diner and nothing will get to you. For added insurance, though, you're going to want to plant a claymore in that door that we passed by that's in the back. Sometimes the turrets don't quite hit all the enemies, and so in order to make up for this, you want to have something that'll catch the other enemies as they're trying to get in. So use your claymores, if you have them, which you will, and from there, just sit in this little diner and you'll be perfectly fine. Now, there are a number of different positions that you can take in this mission. This is just the one that I'm most comfortable with. Another one that you can try is, if you're actually fast enough, you can actually pick up the turret that you have in the starting area, run all the way over to the opposite side of the map, and you can get inside of the bank that's all the way to the left of Nate's sports bar. It's kind of in the upper left region of the map from where you start. And there are two turrets in there as well. So if you try, you can run over there with 3 turrets and camp out in there. It's pretty simple to camp out in there too. But otherwise, another strategy you can use is, there's a similar strategy that you can use from body count, in that you can just kind of hang out at Nate's sports bar over near where one of the lockers is, and there's only one way you can get in, and you can just camp there. And it works just the same, but sometimes you get a little swarmed, so I particularly don't like that. Plus, personally, I find it to be a little boring. But like I said, I just prefer this position because it's what I'm comfortable with doing. The turrets typically don't get killed until waves 4 or 5 anyway, so really you don't need to mess about with them. One thing I will say, though, is that the turrets seem to have a distance cap, where if you get too far away from them, they kind of just automatically break apart on their own. I don't really know what it is, but sometimes it just happens that way. So if you're going to run out there to go get other turrets, you might want to do it pretty quickly. Just in case. I'm not quite so sure, but it just seems that way. But in Wave 2, there's a Predator drone that will start shooting at you, and something you can actually do is the Predator drone can friendly fire the enemy players. So if you really want to, you can actually run out there, trigger the Predator missile, and then just hide back in. There are 2 different types of targetings that it can have. It can have the Predator drone has spotted you, which means it doesn't quite know where you are, so it'll just kind of shoot a missile like some random place. Or the missile is directly targeting you. If it says targeting you, you want to get into cover. Otherwise, you're just going to get nailed and you're going to have to restart the entire level, probably. But otherwise, if it says, you know, it just spotted you, you're golden. You're fine, trust me. But otherwise, as long as you camp out here in this diner, well, like I said, this is just my personal preference. You don't have to do this. There are a bunch of other different ways you can do this, but this is just what I'm comfortable with. Then this mission's a piece of cake, really. The 5 waves seems a little daunting at first, but after you do it on regular, you see that it's not really all that big of a deal. You can kill most of them before they can even come remotely close to you. It's perfectly fine. Now also, remember how I said that the Predator missile can actually friendly fire your the enemy soldiers? If you get real lucky, it can also hit the helicopters, and in Wave 4 there's going to be a BTR, along with in Wave 5 there's also going to be a couple more BTRs. If you get lucky, the Predator missiles can hit those too. So it can be rather great and extremely fortunate if the Predator missile just randomly decides to hit them. Also, once again, the helicopters are not multiplayer helicopters. They don't take much of a beating. Just shoot at them with an LMG. You can shoot at them with a sniper rifle, assault rifle, anything. You don't need to try to bust your ass trying to hit it with an RPG. It'll be perfectly fine. Trust me. So here we are on wave 4. We have the BTR coming at us as well. Now, otherwise, if you don't get lucky enough and you don't get the Predator missile to hit the BTRs, which I don't remember if it happens to me in this run or not, the RPGs are more than enough to get rid of them. You have Semtexes as well, but the odds of you running out there and Semtexing the BTR are pretty low without you getting shot about 50 times. So I don't recommend actually trying to do it that way. The RPGs tend to fluctuate sometimes. Like, I'll sometimes get it within the first shot, or sometimes I'll get it within 3 or 4. It's very strange how the rockets work in this game, just because of the way they fly all around the place. And you notice I'm kind of looking in this back area, because see, yeah, there you go, the enemies are trying to flank around the opposite way. And this is why you want to put down the claymores in front of the doors. Yeah, that door that I was looking at just a second ago. You want to put down a claymore right in front of that. Because if they get to that door, they will attempt to flashbang you. And if they flashbang you, you're pretty much dead. Not quite dead, but the odds of you being able to notice that you've been flashed, go prone, wait for the flash to be over, odds are you're going to be dead, or at the very least you're going to have a bloody screen by the time you get out of it. So you want to try to avoid that as much as you can. But yeah, here goes me with my BTR versus RPG fight. I managed to hit it that time. It was real nice. But we're on the final wave, and besides once or twice where I had a bloody screen, I was actually doing pretty well. Both my turrets are still alive, thankfully. Sometimes your turrets deactivate before one another, and if that happens, you notice how I'm sticking kind of towards the center, or like slightly off center. If one of your turrets gets destroyed, take the side that they're not fire, or that the destroyed turret is on. This way you have a nice sight line on everyone. Plus, I don't know what it is, but placing the turrets in these two positions that I have them in seem to make it very difficult for the enemies to shoot them. And yet they can still hit all the enemy soldiers. So it's really nice. But while we're waiting for this last wave to be complete, I just want to say that the wave defense missions in this game are actually kind of fun. Like Sniperfy, this one, Estate Takedown in Delta Ops, we're going to be getting there eventually. Like, I really like those missions, just kind of like the kill X number of enemies in order to proceed. It's kind of like, I don't know why, but I liked Call of Duty back in the day when it was more like this kind of not so serious, more arcadey shooter, and to an extent it still kind of is, but I just like these kind of like fun extra missions mode. Just smaller sub-missions that have no real context or plot or anything like that. Ooh, did you see that? One of the helicopters got hit by a Predator missile, and it got hit. And down. So, it was pretty great. But I can hear them, they're kind of off to the right side. And you hear that flashbang right there? That means one guy is right behind me. So I don't notice him right away, and he takes a shot at my turret instead of me. If he had shot me, I probably would have gone down and would have had to restart. But thankfully, Steve the turret saved my life by being a glorious meat shield. Rest in peace, Steve the turret. But we're just going to pick up an RPG, and we're going to shoot that other BTR right now. This shot is really finicky. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. It's just a matter more so of trying to hope that the rocket doesn't veer off in a way that just doesn't completely mess up the trajectory of the rocket. So I'm just kind of waiting, seeing if I can get it, and I think this gets it. Yep. So now all that's left is a helicopter, crouch right up in front, and I'm just going to shoot it down with an LMG. And that was somehow a new personal record for me, huh? But as you can see, pretty simple mission.